What's going on, you sexy people? Sherif and Joe here, back at it again, and we are going to be talking about design once I freaking adjust the ISO.
You are very dark.
Or not the ISO, but the aperture.
And now you're so bright.
Yeah, I got my light underneath my face, so there we go. Looking a bit better. Looking a bit crispier for tonight's live. Ooh, how about I put on some mood lighting, y'all? Bam.
Damn.
Turn that up. There we go.
Yeah, I don't have anything here. Just my background, as usual.
What up, Crispy Critter? How you doing tonight, brother?
So, how are you guys doing? How are you doing?
Oh man, this so Joe and I were just talking before the live that Artisan Cutlery invited me to be involved in their design competition, and so I'm trying to challenge myself and do something outside of my normal wheelhouse, you know, and that's kind of exciting, you know. Like it's one of those things that, like, when you're a designer, sometimes it's nice to break out of your norms, you know. We get like so comfortable doing things that we are comfortable with, you know, because we know the results. We can depend on the results, you know. So my goal is to go completely strange, like off the freaking wall, off the reservation, strange, and hopefully people will dig it, you know, and I'll have a completely different approach that's successful, you know.
That's a right way of approaching a competition.
I think so, right? Like,
Yeah,
I mean, I
because-
can do what I'm famous for or
Yeah.
what I'm known for,
Yeah.
but it's also kind of boring, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Dude, what's up, Drizzy? Thank you for hitting that like button. I genuinely appreciate it, brother. You get some good rest tonight, and take care of yourself and sweet dreams, dude. But yeah, I agree. I think when you have the opportunity yourself to challenge yourself in design, it's rare, actually. Like it's like, that's the thing. Like, design is a series of compromises all the time, and when one of the compromises that you make is to, like, profitability, you want something that isn't so strange it's going to turn people off, you know. What up, El Cap Addict? What up, Dr. Drew? What up, Cole? How you guys doing? Welcome. I'm just talking about this Artisan Cutlery design competition. I got invited to participate in, and I was explaining that I'm really trying to get out of my comfort zone and do something I never would do, ever. And there's some stuff that I'm kind of taking as inspiration, but dude, it's I don't also, of course, never want to copy like somebody else's approach, you know. But yeah, there's one Russian guy that does really crazy stuff, and I'd really like to push myself to like that level of creativity. It's not for everybody, but that's okay. Like, it's a competition. If I lose the competition, something
But you can still get your name out.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and like the truth is, like, I have so much stuff that I could like already submit and like do zero work in. But this is an opportunity to again like push myself, you know. So yeah, like one, I guess, decent example, if this website will load, is something kind of like crazy like this. But I'm not there yet in my drawing. Like, I mean, I am. Like, I can do it technically. I'm just not there in my conception.
Yeah, that's very crazy and wild.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's a good thing, because for us as a designer, we always wanted to try to break our limit.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's one way to do it. And that, I think that's also why for me I do YouTube, because
yeah,
and I think that's also why for me that I've been talking to Sherif about this for the past few days. Just different style of recording within my different new channel will be pushing me to the limit to see where I can carry the team to.
Yeah, yeah.
And usually, and the content will not be what I'm used to, which is design, what is that called? Motorsports, model, and all that stuff. It's not. It's so many different things. It's music, it's photography, it's vlog, it's food, it's so many different things. So and also is a big group, so I have to kind of just push myself into the limit to see where I can get out of, to see where I can what I can get.
Exactly. And that's the thing, right? Like, if you push yourself out of your comfort zones, like, sometimes that's when like the coolest stuff you'll ever do in your lifetime actually comes from, you know. Nobody got famous for, well, I mean, people did get famous for doing the Honda Civic, right? But they're not like remembered. You know what I mean? Like, we remember Enzo Ferrari, Ferruccio Lamborghini. We don't remember the guy who originally penned the Honda Civic.
Yep.
You know?
That's perfectly said.
Yeah. So it's that, like, it's that kind of move. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so, and that's the thing, right? Like, there's room enough for really, really crazy stuff out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So why not go for it?
And usually when you do like different, like pushing to the limit on yourself, not only you will get your skill improve, but also the whole image of you improve. Let's say your speaking skill, your presentation skill, your design skill is of course going to be improved. Your communication skill, your social skill is going to be improved. So many things are going to improve one way or another.
That's a good question, actually. I don't know the designer of the S2000.
Probably
off the top of my head.
Did.
Let me see. So Shigeru Ueha, the designer of 2000. Let's see. Interesting. I don't know. Yeah, let's see. Oh, he was a project lead for the Honda NSX. And that's it. He basically did the two single most iconic cars for all of Honda history. I mean, the Civic Type R, the Integra Type R, like, don't get me wrong, they're amazing, but the two, real sports cars
Honda, yeah.
for Honda, the two real rear-wheel drive cars, we're by the same guy. So that's actually pretty dope. So, or at least the same guy was heavily involved, So, yeah, that's kind of like the theme of the conversation Joe and I were having before the live. But it's like there's a lot of things that if you look at it, they look like they're adventurous, but they're really not.
Yeah.
And that kind of like brings us into today's topic, right? Like, Joe and I were talking earlier this week, and so, okay, let me kind of explain and give a little background real quick here. As many of you guys know, Vero Engineering is like, a major hype brand within the knife industry, right? His shit sells out really quickly, very popular, right? And I have one. I have a Synapse XL. Right? There it is.
Yeah.
And you want to know the truth behind it? I don't like this knife.
Yeah.
Like, I really don't. Actually, you know what? For sake of this discussion, boom, let's go with more like regular lighting, okay? So you guys can see it clearly, because I'm going to talk about details about it. But I'm not a fan of this knife. I'm not, and I'm gonna sell it. I have had it for I don't know how long. I was so excited to get it because it kind of like initially really spoke to me, and then it sat in my case, and I barely carried or used it. And the thing that the reason why I have struggled for so long to figure out, and Joe actually put it kind of really interestingly. He's like, what did you say exactly? I don't want to like kind of quote you, but it's like minimalistic without purpose.
Yeah, minimalistic with every minimalistic design is there is because there's a reason behind every single elements that the designer put in there that is minimalistic.
Yeah.
And minimalistic is not just simple lines and simple
it's
shape.
Not just simple. Yeah.
If you want to do it a minimalistic way, you better have a reason for it. And I think a lot of the minimalistic design right nowadays is that people are pursuing minimalistic design for the sake of minimalistic design.
Or like, to appear it, or to also like pursue cheap manufacturing.
Yeah.
Because like, dude, this thing is so like lacking complication to manufacture. It's actually super easy to manufacture.
Yeah.
And I think that's what bothers me about it. There's so many little details that kind of get under my skin, right? On first blush, right? First impression, you think this line right here matches up with this grind, but in person, it doesn't. And that drives me nuts. Absolutely nuts.
Yeah, it doesn't line up.
At all, right? And like, it's one of the things that's really pissed me off about it since day one. Another thing that's really pissed me off about it since day one is you see how like rounded these edges are? Like everything is rounded, radius. And then this material breakup here, super linear. Why? Why? Like it doesn't fit the character of the knife. And then even from like an ergonomic perspective, the edge right here of where this ends is literally in the middle of your index finger. So you're getting a sharp tip digging into your finger, and nobody has talked about that. I've never seen a review where anybody talks about how this sharp edge of micarta digs into your finger at all. It's actually one of the reasons why when I did mine, I angled it back. You see that?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't create a sharp point. It doesn't create a sharp 90 degree.
Yeah.
So you don't get the feeling of something sharp digging into your finger. So, like, I don't understand how Vero has gotten all of these accolades when really, like, the design language is not cohesive. There are clear, like, kind of weird elements, like this material separation, and it's a simple ass knife. It really is, you know. And this doesn't work. It doesn't work half the time. If I grow a fingernail on my finger, I can't get in there and utilize it. So I have to utilize this flipper tab, which doesn't always work. Sometimes I slide off of it because guess what? It's rounded to match the rounding of the other corners. Like, it's not super well thought out, you know, and everybody keeps going for it because it's minimalism for the sake of visual appeal, but it's actually not really well thought out.
But like minimalism, it's not for the appealing.
Right. It's
actually for the usage and, you know, like ergonomic. Like every design, like every single design is supposed to start with function first, and then you can go into the form.
Exactly.
But that is kind of just defeat every purpose that in the design world.
And that's the weird part. Like, okay, once you get it in hand, if you ignore the point jabbing into your finger, then okay, yeah, like the ergos work for the most part, right? And the blade is tall and thin, so of course, naturally it slices, right? But again, for your opening method to be slippery, and one of your other opening methods to only work some of the time based on a natural condition like the growth of my nails is stupid.
Yeah.
It's actually stupid, you know? El Cap, yes, it is a flaw across a lot of his designs, you know? And he does things, you know, for this sort of like, I feel just purely visual appeal, you know? Like, you know, it's simple and people like simple. And I can even attribute it to, he took the Apple approach to knife design, right? Straight corners, radius edges, no swoops, no curves, no none of that, right? So of course, in like an era of, you know, like Apple fanboys and hipsters, you know, his visual style appeals. But from the fine details, it doesn't work.
See?
It doesn't work.
Like,
and it's even in my review of the Gunslinger, right? I said the same thing. This edge, because this is carbon fiber, this is even sharper than the micarta. And I don't understand how these guys don't catch this, like, at all. Like, it makes no sense to me. But that should be a clear ergonomic issue, you know?
Like, we can talk a little bit about Apple product.
Yeah.
Because in Apple product, the phone, the MacBook, the iMac, everything, the iPad, the design is very simple and minimalistic. But there's a reason behind it.
Yeah.
Right? Because let's say just say the iPhone, or let's just use the iPod in the beginning.
Yeah.
The size of the iPod and the dial of the iPod.
Right.
It's for your thumb to move freely.
Yes.
And it's for your accessibility. That's why the design is like that. That's why Jonathan Ive, actually, that Jonathan Ive was the head designer of Apple back in the day.
Yeah.
That's why he designed it that way, so that every single element is useful
and natural.
Economic and natural.
Yes.
But then if you look at a modern day product that is pursuing minimalistic, they actually just look at the surface.
Yeah, exactly. No, like a perfect example of that I think is a blatant violation, right? Here's my phone. It's a Samsung Note 8. This issue that I'm about to identify is across the board. This is it without a case, okay? I cannot reach the other side of the screen. I can't reach the top of the screen without shifting my grip. And that's fucking stupid.
And that goes to a lot of the phone nowadays, like a lot of product nowadays. Even
right.
Apple product are way too big and way too, bold.
Yeah.
For the hand.
Now here's the thing. I understand they did it because people wanted to have larger screens for viewing YouTube and all of that. And when I first got this, yes, it was a monumental shift, right? Because I was like, oh wow, like I can really watch videos on here and enjoy it, right? But like for me, that's annoying. That's really annoying. And here's the thing, one way that you could get around this is by realizing that people would have that physical limitation with a minimalistic product like this, right? Because you don't have switches, you don't have keyboards, you don't have like whatever, right? I have a volume and the screen act like lock button. Like that's it, right? You could optimize that for software.
Yeah.
You could have every interface item that I need to deal with to be within this range of my thumb movement.
Yeah.
But they don't.
Yeah.
They don't. Right? So like, again, not well thought out. Like I think that the next company who really kind of like nails that stuff will really run away with the industry, right? And it's also why you're seeing, for example, a lot of people are very excited about the Google Pixel Fold.
Yeah.
Because the Google Pixel Fold is about the size, like a little bit bigger than the size of a passport. And that gives you that more natural size. And if you want a larger screen, you can literally open the thing like a book and have that foldable interior large screen. So, like, I'm very bullish on the future of foldables, for example, in the phone space, right? Now, to bring it again to another area where you guys may understand, right? If somebody tried to design a car tomorrow by like the Apple standard, right? But chase the look, you end up getting something kind of like the Cybertruck.
Yeah.
Which is fucking stupid.
Or Tesla, like in general.
yeah, actually Tesla in general, right? There's so many points of the design that are so poorly resolved in that. And even interface, issues, right? Like, why do you have software controls for the AC? It makes no sense. Like, why does somebody think about it? You're driving here, and now you have to interact with a touch screen. The touch screen has no feedback mechanism. So you have to take your eye off the road and put it onto a screen in order to interact. That's not minimalism. That's stupidity.
And you have to navigate your hand.
Right.
Reach that certain area of the screen.
Right. So, like, for me, I can bring this back into an area that's familiar to a lot of you, right? Ray Laconico. Super simple, right? Absolutely simple, boring, bordering on boring, but everything works.
Yeah.
Every ergo, every position, every grip, every opening method, everything works. This is minimalism done correctly.
Yep.
Zero is minimalism done as a style.
And minimalism isn't a style.
No,
anyway,
it's not.
Minimalism is for minimalism. Okay, how do I put it that way? Minimalism is there to increase your design capabilities and increase your function and increase your
utility.
Yeah,
because you're removing all things that are unnecessary. Let's go back to the Tesla example, right? The reason why Tesla decided to make their, aircon controls and put it into the tablet was not because, it's super forward thinking, blah, 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 blah. It means that they don't have to invest in switch gear, right? So they don't need to invest in switches that can pass the 100,000 click test, and have to have coatings that will survive and not turn white from repeated use, right? Have you ever had a car like that? Where keep on hitting, let's say, the volume knob or volume button or a certain channel on the radio, and the enamel wipes away and you see the white plastic underneath? Yeah, that's why freaking Tesla didn't do switches and put it into software, because they didn't want to have to deal with that, because they didn't want to have to contend with those potential failure points. It wasn't to be more efficient. It wasn't because it created a greater sense of utility.
But nobody knows, so they sell the car. But for us, a designer, we know and we've seen it.
Exactly.
We can point it out, very critical. That this is a design lazy.
Yeah. The meme going around of Leonardo DiCaprio on the couch? He's like, that's us. That's us when we see that shit. We're like, oh, you cheap bastard.
No, that's I always say Tesla car are like IKEA.
Yeah.
If IKEA or Apple is designing a car, it will be Tesla. And for Tesla, it's way easier and way cheaper to develop and manufacture the car by having a screen in the center. Literally, it's an iPad.
It is.
In the center. Yeah.
It is. And it's silly. Genuinely, it's silly,
But then the new generation appreciate it because everybody's on digital media, everybody's on social media, everybody's on screen. So they will be, this is so cool. This is what I want. The younger generation wants this. And so that's how they actually reverse engineer everything that, oh, we want to sell the money to the younger generation, we want to sell it to the modern generation.
Yeah.
And that kind of just tie every of their design elements and criteria together to develop that car.
Dude, and it's just, and this is kind of the modern conundrum that Joe and I are kind of like contending with, and it explains, at least to me, you know, why I've been so frustrated with that Vero, right? Because it's not cohesive, it's not well thought out, you know, like not particularly for the price, right? Like our demands as consumers for price versus utility goes up exponentially, right? So in the world of computers, that's why you'll often see PC people saying, well, for the price of your Apple, I could build 3 PCs that could do more, right? And that's the thing, right? People, they like the PC people don't realize, for like your average Apple user, it's the simplicity that gets them in the door. They don't need to think. They don't need to be as aware of like drivers and plugins and, you know, stuff like that. All that stuff is hands-off in an Apple world. It doesn't matter if you have a better video card, if you've got more RAM, a faster processor. Those things matter to the PC person, but it's the definition of utility that's relative to every single person, right? For like my dad, the utility of having a computer that's simple, utility is very high. He will pay that premium for the simplicity of never having to worry about that stuff.
Yeah, and
right?
I actually appreciate that part of Apple, because
right,
it's just the right way of thinking and the right way of designing a product. I'm not saying computer or anything, but product.
Right.
For us as a consumer, we really don't want to deal with all the breakdown and all the repair of the products. So if we have a single product that can work flawlessly, which is Apple was creating that, and especially when Steve Jobs is still alive and still CEO, his design actually he doesn't learn design, but he knows design, he knows art, and he knows all that kind of stuff. So when he was in charge of iPhone 4 or back in that era, every design is well thought out design on his leadership, and if he's still alive, I would say if he's still alive, he would not allow an iPhone to be that big.
No, it's true. Yeah.
And he would not allow the iPhone to be that crazy. Everything will go back to simplicity, and everything will go back to phone follow function.
Yep. Oh, 100%. 100%.
And phone follow function is not simplicity, it's not minimalistic, but phone follow function is a starting point for every product designers and every product that needs to be created. It's kind of like you need to follow the rule, because function is the priority. You need to have your customer feel comfortable and knows how to use the product, and you can go into the design, go into the aesthetic of things.
Exactly. So, like, I'm trying to find. There were whatchamacallit? Who was it who created the like principles of minimalism?
Theater Rum.
Who would get say again?
Theater Rum.
Oh yeah. Well, he created the 10 rules of design. Yeah, that's right. And like Dieter Rams, whatchamacallit, he he was a massive minimalist. So you can actually like translate a lot of what he said into what we're talking about, right?
You
Good
want
design
to?
is
We should before we start this. We should give the audience who about a little background of theater.
okay.
I don't know. I don't know who. I don't know if they know who we're talking about.
Okay, so Dieter Rams was this guy, right? He was part of a school, or he graduated from a school of design in Germany, like around or post World War II, somewhat overlapping with World War II, by the name of the Bauhaus. Okay, and the Bauhaus was one of the most avant-garde, forward-thinking design schools in the history of design.
Yeah.
And many of their graduates went on to design many of the things that we're actually exceedingly familiar with, from architecture to products, actually. Like, there are whole cities that have been concepted by either graduates from the Bauhaus or the people that they trained later on in life, you know? And Dieter Rams is one of the most famous because of his contributions to a company by the name of Braun. Braun,
I'm
you
pretty
guys
sure,
may know as the shaver company.
Yeah.
But Braun used to make all sorts of products. All sorts of products. So here you can see, okay.
Amazon.
Yeah, I don't understand. Chrome is acting weird with the latest like ad block stuff. But anyways. So they used to make record players. They used to make little travel shavers. They used to make radios. They used to make like full-on hi-fi systems. Each one of these was designed by Dieter Rams. So if we look here, you know, you can see some of his work in the past. You know the calculator on iPhone?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's mimicked after Dieter Rams' Braun calculator.
The color of the keys, it's mimicked, and everything's mimicked.
Yeah, the shape, the fact that they're circles, like you name it.
Yeah. And also the
align them.
The iPod.
Yeah, the iPod. We actually
right
look
there.
at.
It's just right there.
Oh yeah. You're right. Right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, the iPod was inspired by Dieter Rams' radio design.
Yeah.
So it's, you can see the relationship between these very, very clearly, actually. So this guy is basically a god of design, even the Xbox.
I know who designed this Xbox, by the way. It's our colleague.
Yeah. I know. Who
and he has a big inspiration by Apple, and Apple has big inspiration by Dieter Rams. That's why the Xbox is like this.
Yeah. Even here, you can see like their inspiration for the monitor, for the iMacs. There's the whatchamacallit, the calculator. Their webcam.
Yeah.
All of it. Hey, welcome, Neil McKenzie. Pleasure to have you, dude. We're talking about minimalism in design, and good minimalism versus bad minimalism. So this is good minimalism.
Yeah, this is
purposeful minimalism.
This is purposeful. And
so this guy, Dieter Rams, that dude, right? As we were saying earlier, he created the 10 principles of design. Basically, to go through them quickly, good design is innovative, it is useful, it is aesthetic, makes a product understandable. So it should be very, very evident how to use something
This is very important, by the way.
Yes. Good design is unobtrusive. This is really important, and it's something that a lot of people get wrong, in my opinion, particularly, as you guys know, in the knife world. When I nailed Foxteed in my review of them, this is what I was nailing them for, right? Products fulfilling the purpose are like tools. They're neither decorative objects nor works of art. Their design should therefore be both neutral and restrained, leave room for user self-expression, but also it should not impede the user in any way. And that was the problem, right? Good design is honest, long-lasting, is thorough down to the last detail. And that's what I'm complaining about with Vero. Nothing is arbitrary, left to chance. Care and accuracy in the design process shows respect towards the consumer. I don't feel that it's thought out down to the last detail. Whereas with a Laconico, I feel that it is. Good design is environmentally friendly. And good design, and this is where minimalism comes into play, is as little design as possible.
Less but better. Less but better.
Exactly, right? So for me, I feel, what I should be doing, actually, you know what? When I do my reviews, I should use this as a reference.
Yeah,
it should be my checklist.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that would be awesome, actually.
Yeah. It's not a bad idea, right?
Because the list is there. It's also for reasons. And those reasons, every single reasons are a proof of what you see a good design nowadays has check out.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know, man. Like it's very interesting that like there are just some things that I feel violate this rule,
Actually, there's a lot.
Society.
I feel like in the modern day society of design in general,
yeah.
I mean, it can go through. I can also talk about life, but design in general doesn't fit all this all this checklist of design.
Yeah,
design should be it doesn't check, and modern day design, it's just I feel like it's just very surface driven. Like
it is.
It doesn't go through the detail. It doesn't go through the thought process of what we used to have. So that's why a lot of design is just so plain and so not in depth.
Yeah, 100%. As you said, it's surface level, and I think that like as consumers, part of like the value of this conversation is for you guys as consumers to really look at some of the products in your life with a little bit more of like a critical eye, right? Like, are these people really delivering something to you that you feel you can use and find utility in for forever?
Yeah.
And that's the funny thing about this is it doesn't have to be expensive to qualify for this at all, actually.
Yeah.
Like the misconception is that, if you want like nice things, whatever, or well thought out stuff, that you have to pay a lot of money. No, that's a fallacy. It's an absolute fallacy. What is really much more important, in my opinion, is just well thought out stuff can be, okay, here's a good example of a well thought out product, that doesn't have to be fancy or expensive. A power strip, right? You get a long rectangle, There's clearly marked areas where you plug in your power connectors, right? Your wall warts, whatever. It is very clearly identified where is the switch, because it usually turns on with a light, right? But how many of us have gotten one where it's poorly thought out because you can't fit two of your charging blocks next to one another?
And everything just got blocked.
Yeah. You have to leave one open because there's not enough room to put one next to another.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't need to be expensive. It doesn't need to be sophisticated.
It doesn't need to be fancy.
Yes, but when you get a good one, you got a damn good one.
And usually that good one will be in your house for a long time. And that's what the other one was saying. Yeah, that's what the other one was saying. A good design should be long last.
Yes.
Because it's like when you see a good design, or when you use a good design, you don't have to think of a second thought, right? You don't have to think of a second thought that I might have to get another one. You just go for this one. You just go for the original one, and then that design, that ideal is just kind of just there.
Yes,
as a second nature, right? It's not like, oh, I have to get this one because this one doesn't work. I have to get that one because that one doesn't work. But it's like you get this one, you get this specific power strip, and it works, and you don't have to think. You don't have to think of it again.
Exactly. Simple functionality, right? Like everything should have this level of utility. So much so to the point that, like, you should never have to think about your power strip.
Yeah, exactly. And that's also the mentality of the minimalism, because minimalism is there so that you don't have to think of it. Mm-hmm. Because every single line and every single element in that design is perfect, and you don't have a second thought that it just kind of just going back to your head and just kind of like lie in your head. You don't have to think of it again.
Dude, even going back to the original iPod, right? You didn't have to think about it. It was natural. Oh, okay, I get it in my hand. I have this wheel.
Yeah.
Right? I click. Oh, okay, this is how I interact with it. And the focus is getting you to your music as quickly as possible without going through tons of, interface. And it's just, okay, rotate, dial, click, rotate, dial, click. That's it. It was dead simple. You should
it's just rotate complete 99% of your function.
Right. So, but it's amazing how many companies get this wrong, and again, going back to what you guys are familiar with, right? Like with the knives, look at your collection. See how many of these guys really get this wrong, from ergonomics to, usefulness to reliability, right? Dude, that's why, like, the rat, the R2D2, and stuff like that are beloved, because you just don't have to think with them. And to have something that you don't have to think with is important. It's good design.
A good design is second nature. I'm gonna add that in the minimalistic checklist.
Yes. It is completely second nature, So, like, you'd be surprised, really, but, like, honestly, guys, you would be surprised if you looked critically at the stuff in your life, how many things are not done like this, right? They're done either with a focus on engineering or on a focus on style, but not with cohesive design, right? I'll tell you my first experience with bad design that was biased towards engineering, right? I tried to change the oil on my 1994 Ford Probe. It was a car that was a collaboration between Ford and Mazda, okay? and the engine was like a Mazda, if I'm not mistaken, basically, right? When you went to go access the oil filter, the oil filter was sandwiched between the inline-4 engine and the firewall. Yes, and horizontally. So you literally had to try and get that thing out. You know, the oil filter wrench, you know, the rubber strap and whatever, right? You had to like get that in kind of like sideways in order to pull that thing out, and you had so little clearance room that I was like cursing it. I never wanted to change my own oil again. Now let's compare that to my BRZ, right? The oil filter is on the top of the engine. Right? Like literally, it's you pop open the hood, it's right there. It's literally right there. So the one thing that you're going to have to access more frequently than anything else in servicing the car and dealing with the car is right there. Well thought out design, even from, you know, a vehicle standpoint. I'm sure some design oriented engineer said, hey, we need to make this a priority.
Because all those needs to be easy assets, because
exactly.
What if your engine prevent that, you have to change your oil.
See, that shouldn't be the case.
Yeah.
True minimalism you should not have to practice. It should, so like here again, you should not have to practice to use this. It is dead simple in how to use this. There's no learning curve. There's no figuring it out. There's no,
it's like
anything.
A true minimalism or a true design should be second nature. You just there, and then you just
is,
and you just kind of just design around it.
Right. Like, and again, that's why, you know, I never really emotionally connected, I guess you could say, with the Vero, because I have to fiddle with it. I had to like, oh, okay, I can't open this if I have a fingernail. Oh, my finger slips off this element.
Like,
that's not smart.
I'm actually gonna bring back Tesla's example.
Yeah, please.
My first time sitting into Tesla, it's very minimalistic. I give them that. But I don't even know how to open the door.
Right.
It's time. And open the door is very crucial because I have to go in and out of the car. Right? So I don't know how to use my second nature to open the door.
Mm-hmm.
I have to kind of figure it out as I go. Like I have to kind of dig in. Hey, where is the on and off? Where is the door handle? So it's minimalistic in the wrong way.
Yeah. Well, in this part, you're completely right in LCAP, right? In order to get minimalist, like to get to the point of minimalism, you do need to be like more competent, right? Because you know the things that you don't need to deal with. And those are the parts that you can strip away. They're the decoration. They're the unnecessary, you know? And it does take practice to get there, you know?
It takes practice and takes time to get it, because
yes,
ultimately you need to experience life, and you need to experience multiple different things in order to, you know, shrink it down and digest.
Exactly. And this is the problem, Chris V, right? Yeah. You shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to. I'll give you another great example of minimalism at play in a very, very intentional way. Now, this one does generate a bit of a price difference. Okay. I think it's in here. Yeah, it is. Okay. So I have two tools that I use on the go, and I use them quite a bit in order to be screwdrivers, right? I don't want to carry like a full-blown screwdriver with me, but there are a lot of times where I need to, have access to some bits and torque something down, whether it be my pew-pews, be it my knife, or even just everyday stuff, right? So we have two right here, right? What up, Cheeto? Right, so one, we have the lever gear, and the other one is, who made this one? Big Idea Design, okay? This one is not really self-explanatory on how you open it. And even how you open it is complicated in access to bits. There are these silver tabs on the side. You have to press these in with one hand, and with the other hand, pull it open. And then you get access to your tool bits inside. But now, if I want one, I have to block the other ones so they don't fall, tip it over, shake it out, and then I can get access to the tool bit that I need. And my wrist is always making a mess.
Yeah, that's
right.
You didn't think it through design.
Yeah, I mean it's simple and it's very affordable, right? Like the difference in the price between these two is fairly massive. I'm not gonna lie. However, this guy, all the bits are held right there.
You just I can already know how to use that by seeing it.
Yeah.
You put that dial up.
There you go.
That's it. Because
all the bits.
And I can tell you guys why I know how to use it without even touch it. Because the dial has a it's like a switch.
Yeah.
It's designed like a switch. So as a switch, when you see it, your second nature is to think, okay, you just pull it up.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how the design should be. Pull it up, and then that's it.
It's beautiful. Yeah. It's spring loaded. Every bit is held in by magnets. You pull out your bit and you put it into the top part.
Yeah.
That's also held in by a magnet. And they also have another side one here, right? And when you're done, you literally just put it into its slot. I freaking love this thing. This is my favorite tool in my everyday arsenal because it's so intelligent, so well thought out, so easy to use. This thing I bought because I was scared of spending the money for that thing. And now I have it.
If you didn't tell me how to do it, I will have to spend my time on the internet.
Yeah.
or look through the manual.
Exactly. And
that's the difference between a good design and a bad design.
This is, I hate to say it, just not that great. It's not stupid. So you do have an idea that you may interact with these things because there is that color contrast. But the fact that you want to pull it, that's what you see. You see these grooves right here, and that tells you, oh, okay, maybe I should pull that. But there's nothing to tell you to push in the silver things on the side. And then again, to have all of your bits just kind of sitting there free. Dude, I literally sometimes I'll do like weird hand positions to like cover them to tip it, and oh God forbid if you put any like pills or screws in here, those things are not going to be held in place at all. So again, minimal, right? Not very fancy, not like a big deal. And actually this one does have a similar thing where that's held in by a magnet there, And then there's another one here if you need a little bit more torque or you have less room to work with, right? That part's smart. That part's very obvious, but doesn't hold a candle to this guy at all. And whenever I need to reach for one of these two, I reach for this one because it's even so much more like fast and efficient, you know? So this is the difference between effective minimalism and then minimalism for style.
Yep. And minimalism, good minimalism should be obvious as well. Like, you see it, you know exactly how it works. And that's exactly what we were talking about. Just having sometimes you can, when you design a product, you can take an inspiration of your surroundings. In that case, that screwdriver, they take inspiration of on and off switch.
Yeah.
Inspiration. And when we see on and off switch, you immediately know that you have to either push or pull or click.
Yep.
And that single action can turn it on and turn it off, on or off. That's it.
Yeah.
And you can put that design in stuff like that, like anything that has to do with on and off switch, anything that has to do with mechanical switch. So it's design, like I used to say, design is everywhere. Design is your everyday life, and you have to kind of just absorb everything and kind of seeing everything and just, you know, put them together and kind of digest it.
Yeah, absolutely. And LCAP, this is a perfect example. If you could show people that how a couple of rolls of gauze can be effective in doing all of these things, think how much, how many tools and kits are sold with all of this stuff, right? All of this stuff. When you don't really need it in order to complete the tasks, you know? Now, granted, like first aid, first responder stuff, it does require a bit of training, right? But for the people who do that professionally, this is huge, you know? And will simplify like a lot of people's carry and loadouts, you know? If you could just show like, hey, look, high quality gauze can be used in X, Y, and Z like applications, right? And that's minimalism. That's paring down to the absolute minimum of what you need, you know, and doing so while still being effective. You know, there should not be a single point where anything is superfluous, you know. That's why I love you, Cheetah. Yeah, man. So, like, are you guys like kind of following with us here along this pathway of thought, right? Like, again, if you guys apply it to your world, you know, and you observe some of your products, right? Like,
you'll be surprised.
Yeah. Again,
you'll actually see a lot of different things through once we tell you guys what this is about. You actually see it.
Yeah, like even this is a minimalistically designed product. It doesn't have a lot of things that it doesn't need, and it communicates exactly what it does. You have this, so let's say you've never seen this before, right? Your first inclination is to see, oh, that thing sticks out and it retracts. Okay, I'm going to pull this out. Right? So now you understand, okay, there are numbers, they get bigger. Maybe this is for telling you something, a reference, right? And then, even if you don't hold it open, you're going to see this, and you're going to see that it has a track. So your
Switch.
inclination is to press it,
Yeah.
right?
Switch.
So then you're going to come out and maybe do both at the same time. And you're going to say, oh, it holds this. So now you know very simply, very obviously what this does. You can get a reference for something. You can hold this position and hold that reference. And that's it. That's what this is. This effectively does the job. And there's no unnecessary elements to it. Now, could you add features to it? Sure. Could you add, let's say, like a level or whatever? Yeah, absolutely. But at its core, this is all you need in order to do quick measurements. Very simple, very straightforward.
Also touch on that point is
minimalistic.
Once you get into the minimalistic side of things, of design, then you can start playing with colors, right? Color, materials, and finish. That color, material, and finish will usually affect the outcome of your user scenarios and your user approach. Because if you bring that tape back, you notice the switch is in bold yellow.
Yeah.
And that's a differentiation of, or not differentiation, but that's
it is.
That's a differentiation of the switch and the body. And you know that you have to pull that because it's in different color. Yeah. And what if that thing is red? Then the red, you will notice, oh, you don't want to touch the red.
Yeah, you may not want to. Yeah. Right?
And that's how designers use colors to enhance the product. Yeah. The color is not there just for the look. Most of the time, the color is there for features.
Yeah, and communication.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Now you can also do something without color. But you'll notice there's a surface change.
Yeah.
So again, another tape measure, right? But, oh, okay, I've pulled this out. I heard it. I can feel that it's locked, right? But there is something that protrudes on the surface here, right? There's nothing on this side, so this must do something. And your inclination is to touch it. And that's what retracts it, right? So you can either do, like Joe was saying, color or surface variation, right? To engage the same kind of like logical ease of use thinking, right?
Even materials, right? Like if you have a softer materials there, your first idea is to touch it. Yes. Once you touch it, you will pull it because that thing's loose.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And it can go. Exactly. We can keep on talking about materials, but like they say wallets or they say different type of materials, and that's also minimalistic because a different type of either leather or something else is there, and again you can going back to the theater rooms and principle of design. Good design is long last. A material is there, change.
Yeah.
Make it look different. Make it feels different. Not look different, but feels different. And so once it feels different, you touch it, the material principle will change. Color will change. You will get more oily. You will get more odor, and the whole thing just look different. So that's minimalistic design is not just one thing. It's actually a whole package. It's actually a whole experience.
But it's considered choices.
Yeah.
Absolutely considered choices. Yeah. And it's why, again, going back to kind of what started this conversation, I'm frustrated all these years with the Vero Synapse, you know. It is a product that I don't feel a lot of the design decisions were completely well thought out. They just don't feel that way to me, you know? And because of that, because as Crispy Critter is saying right here, we are filthy apes. We need simplicity. We need obviousness. We need just kind of like straightforwardness, right? Like it the fact that it lacks that sort of level of refinement is, to me, inexcusable. Really, it genuinely is, you know. And for any tool these days, right? Again, we can keep on going through the examples, but it's something that I hope from hearing this kind of dialogue that we're going down, you guys kind of, again, look at the products in your life very clearly, you know, and are a little bit more picky about what you choose, not just because like it's aesthetic, but because you can find purpose and utility in it, you know, and because you see that the individual put the time and effort and the thinking into that product, you know, and its usage is obvious, you know. So like there's a lot of stuff that's, again, just done for price or cost or ease of manufacturing, and it mimics,
or just wanted to catch people's eye.
Yeah, and it mimics, you know, a nice minimal style, but it doesn't actually have utility or purpose, you know. One of my favorite products, I can never remember who the manufacturer is, but if you guys are interested, I can share with you I can share the link. I'll have to figure out how to dig it out of my Amazon order history, but is this little guy right here. Joe's seen me use this when I come visit him before, right? So this little guy, very small, very tiny, very, you know, simple, okay? But what this guy houses inside is a bunch of adapters. So it has USB-C, USB-C to micro USB, USB to Lightning. So anybody can charge their frickin' phones on the go. It has a little tool here for popping out a SIM card. It even has a micro SD reader. So you plug this thing into your computer and you can read a micro SD card, which is super useful because not every computer has that. It even has an adapter to a full-size USB hiding in the back here. And it has a little mini flashlight. So if you're working late somewhere and it gets dark on your desk, you can have it. Another really cool feature, right? See this little panel here? This kicks down and you can rest your cell phone on it and you can wirelessly charge with the thing.
Smart.
So, and when it's in this open position, it stands. You know, so you have this little tool here that has everything you need for a mobile phone, going on a trip, going somewhere, even hanging with the friends. Let's say somebody needs to charge their phone, which, let's face it, many people do. You can adapt and accommodate on the go. And it's this small. This is a well thought out product.
It is.
This is an excellently well thought out, simple product. And, you know, this is, in my opinion, infinitely better thought out than something like the Bureau. And it's so much cheaper.
Yeah.
So, again, it's also why I have like 3 of them. because I can take it, throw it in my bag. I don't need to think about it. But every time I've needed it, it's been there and it's been useful for me. Every single time. I've been with Joe, and I will bring like a little power adapter so I can like charge my computer, charge my devices. Sometimes, like, I don't have, an extra cable, for example, to charge my phone. I'll bust this guy out, plug it into my computer, and wirelessly charge my phone, and that's it.
Yeah.
So again, it's just integrates into my life very transparently, very easily. Don't have to think about it, and it's endlessly useful.
It's rare, very rarely to see a product like that nowadays.
Exactly.
Very hard to see. You'll be surprised. It's really, really hard to find a product that is so simple but so useful.
Exactly.
And there's so many products out there. If you can go to Best Buy or Amazon or even just your local grocery store, it's really hard. It's impossible to find a product that is so simple and so multifunctional.
Yeah.
Minimal.
Yeah, it's true. And it's shocking. It's shocking how much garbage is out there clamoring for your attention and money, and so few things that are really, really well thought out.
See, for me, like minimalism, the word minimalism, it shouldn't be even exist.
No, not with like a lot of today's stuff.
Yeah, like minimalism should be your second nature. As a design, you like when you start approaching design, you should already start thinking of simple way of approaching things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's simple. That's minimalism.
Exactly. Everything should be there for a purpose. It should make sense. And then if you add like an aesthetic twist on it, that's your prerogative, right?
But like, the function should be the first priority.
Absolutely. It should just be there.
Now, can we say the same as vehicle? Like, if it's SUV, but the car, I don't know. Like, maybe we can discuss a little bit more about that as well, because we see the Tesla trying to be minimalistic, but it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. And I don't know how many other ways to really kind of illustrate the point. I think we really have. We hit it on the head.
I mean, I can give you another example of a well thought out vehicle that is not minimalistic, but it's minimalistic.
Yeah.
Toyota 4Runner. If you can.
Yeah.
It's 10 years in the manufacture, but it still lasts for such a long time. That's why the reason why is because that thing is reliable. That thing it doesn't break down, and that thing doesn't have any of electronic screen or anything that we have seen nowadays.
I mean, now they're going to, but up until now.
But then that thing doesn't, because there's no electronic stuff. There's not that much electronic stuff. So that thing is like a zombie. It doesn't break down.
Yeah.
And a simple lever, a simple gear change, a simple, mechanical things will go for a long way. And you can still see that thing, that a 4Runner on a roll for a while.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, like the one that kind of predates all of it, the Hilux, they're still running all around Africa and the Middle East. And,
Why? Because that thing is long last, and that thing is in some way minimalistic, because it went back to our ideal form follow function. Everything is there for a reason. Every switch is there for a reason. Every lever, all the lever is there for a reason. Why is there a mechanical gears instead of digital gear change? Because they want to make that car, that SUV tough and when you're on the wilderness, it doesn't break down.
Exactly. Just a tank, you know.
Yeah.
And that's its purpose, and it served its purpose to the highest end it could possibly do, you know. So I don't know, you guys. Did you guys find this conversation a little bit illuminating, a little bit interesting, a little bit informative?
I hope you guys do. Otherwise, it's a waste of time.
You know, I mean, for us, it's definitely something that we feel passionate about. You know,
us, we are always trying to pursue that route.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that I can design minimalistic design perfect, but I will pursue that route.
Oh, every time. Yeah. No, and that's the thing, right? Like, just because something's minimalistic also doesn't mean that it has to be barren of detail, like aesthetics.
Yeah.
But the detail aesthetics should not trump function.
Yeah, the detail aesthetic should not driven your design purpose.
Dude, I love you, Chrissy, man. We got like next time I'm in the South, we gotta hang out, brother. We really do. And
the aesthetic part is just that thing should always come last.
yeah, literally. Like if it doesn't,
then you have to rethink of your design. If you start your design by making decision of what it looks cool, then it doesn't work. You have to redesign it. You have to think of your design and rethink of your purpose.
100%. And oh yeah, thank you, Crispy. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. I really do. Alrighty, guys.
I think we have
if you guys have any questions, what's up?
I think we have touched on a lot of different side of minimalistic.
Oh yeah, man. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, let us know. Otherwise, I think we're gonna wind it down tonight. You know. Not our shortest live, but definitely not our longest, you know. But I think the message is good when it's concise and it's to the point, you know.
See, us, we are also trying to make this video live stream minimalistic. Just get to the point, get to the trace, and then that's it.
yeah.
No bullshit, no crazy things, just to the point.
Exactly. You know, and I definitely gotta appreciate Joe for letting me reference the knives, because I know it's an easy way to get you guys on board, you know. But there's so much stuff that really, like, you know.
When Sherif was asking me, like he doesn't know what to do with the knife, and he doesn't know why he doesn't like it. He asked me, and then I look at it. I still have to think of it and see, maybe it's because the reason why you don't like it is because the minimalistic is too simple and there's no meaning to it.
Yeah.
Maybe. And it was that's how this conversation and that's how this topic came about.
But it's true. That was like a stunning insight from Joe. Really, like, I mean, that I couldn't, for the life of me, put words to it exactly, you know, as to like why the damn thing bothered me so much, you know. But Joe really nailed it on the head when he said that. Like, it's minimal without meaning, basically
minimal without meaning. If minimal with meanings, then you'll be looking at it for quite a long time.
Yeah,
And appreciate the design.
the ones that I have in my collection that are minimal, with purpose, with meaning, I have not gotten rid of. You know, so the proof is right there. The things that you find eminently useful, well thought out, you know, and also happen to have a good look and aesthetics, you'll keep them for forever, you know.
See, this is a good design.
Yeah,
This is for this.
yeah,
That's it. And you don't need this will and you don't need anything else. It's just there.
it's just simple,
Yeah.
you know, straight to the point, very clear, very obvious, exactly how you use it,
Yeah.
you know. So
Yeah, like again, like a good design, you should not think of yours. Again, a good design, you should just see it and then you know how to use it.
yeah,
That's it.
no doubt, no doubt. Alrighty, fellas, I think we're gonna wrap it up there. We love you. We appreciate you hopping into the live stream with us, and really love the interaction. Hope you guys are doing well. Crispy, I hope you're doing well, man. Keep me posted on how things go. And I was reading all that stuff, even though I didn't reference it. But keep me posted, brother. I want to know that you're all right. But love all of you guys, and really be up, stay up, and we'll catch you in the next one, guys. Peace.